Hey guys, it's me, MavicJack24 here, and today I'm just going to be, talking about some of the stuff that I thought about, a test screening of the movie that I was working on for about the past 3.5 years for an internship. So yeah, I gotta say, last night the test screening was purely a rough cut, meaning not everything was finalized, not everything was sound mixed properly or VFX properly encoded in. And so, yeah, it was from what I saw from the schedule, and also from what my dad saw as well, since he helped me with getting the job, with getting internships, signing out, so on and so forth. Also invested some part in the film as well. Well, technically, partially also on my behalf as well, since at the time I wasn't 18. So, yeah, I'll just say this. Thing was scheduled to start at around 6 and be around end around 8:30, and then we'd go to a dinner or something. What I didn't expect was that the film would actually be 4.5 hours long, because that's not what was told to me on the news, on the email thing that they sent out. So that was a bit of a surprise, and it's not anything that I hold back against against them. It's just a little annoying, but there's some other stuff of the film where I thought it did great in, and other parts I felt like it dragged on to the point where I was literally thinking to myself. So, not literally thinking because I can't hear my own voice, but I'm like, I just want this to just continue on and not, grind the pace down, but it's one of those things where I'm not sure if the criticism you would want to hear would be necessarily the best, since there were a lot of parts of the film where I liked, a lot of parts where I didn't necessarily like, and easily thought, oh yeah, if I was purely the one doing half of the editing, I know which of the major stuff that I'd be cutting out like crazy to at least get it, not to be bad. But each section was about nearly I would say 30 minutes each out of a 4.5 hour film. I mean, first of all, I know that he grew up with watching epics and stuff. For those that don't know, epics are pretty long movies that are often cut apart into literally two movies, and would often have an intermission in between them to allow an audience to get up and go to the bathroom for 15 minutes. Same thing for an intermission for a play. Oh boy, that just took forever ever to get through, and when it was done, I was actually ready to go to the dinner, but my phone was dead, and since it was in the city at night, it already almost by the time we were done, it was 10:30 p.m., I believe. And keep in mind, we started around 6, so yeah, that took a little longer than what was expected. And I will just say this. The movie was on the higher end of my expectations, but my expectations was always going to be within the B movie range. It can be from like about, I would say, like a 75 for like 85% kind of range. Right now it's more teetering on like an 82 to say the least, which is better than what I was actually thinking that it would have been. As I was always thinking that it would have been at least in the lower, in like around 78 to 76 range from kind of the system that I was just discussing. And yeah, but I did think the film was good. It's just it drags on in some areas, and there are some things where I see that clearly needs to be cut or significantly shortened because I kid you not, I know my generation pretty well. Pretty well. We're not staying in the theater that long to watch like an entirely long movie. I mean, we might for a Nolan film, but that's only because we know that those movies are going to be long as hell. Hell, actually, kind of same thing with. No, it's not. No, not Tarantino. What's the other one? Oh no, no. This. Oh, same as Guillermo del Toro. It's just overall, like even if the film was to release in its full, I would say like not even an extended edition can cover that amount of time. The only other extended edition that I know that went over 4 hours was Return of the King's extended edition, but of the Lord of the Rings series, which, by the way, it is quite good even with the extended edition, but oh my goodness, like there are some moments where it just breaks you out of the immersion, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally. As I say, some parts with the unfinished VFX made like nearly everyone in the theater laugh. And it was just a testing screening for some of the actors, some of the crew members, some of the investors, so on and so forth. I would have to say it was overall quite nice. Quite nice. Nicely presented and whatnot. Definitely needed a lot of help in places. Like, I mean, I mean, the director is not going to exactly like the fact that I'm going to tell him that he's got to cut, like, about 2 chapters of his, effectively cut down, well, cut out 1 chapter of his story, and cutting down on a lot of other parts of the story in order to make it all coherent and get rid of a lot of stuff that was shot quite well, but the only issue was we shot like 5 movies for one movie, meaning like we have so much material of all of the stuff that we need, don't need, and how we can fix it. It's just annoying because I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to go on. But overall, I genuinely did like the film, but it's just not. At its current rate, like, I don't see much people giving it pass by than just, like, saying just to watch. To watch just because it's long and just to, like this is before I get to talk with the director for a lot of the feedback that I have for him, since he trusts my views because I've kind of been with him nearly from the start. except for like the first half of production as I joined them on the second half of production. And from there, oh boy, it was actually quite nice, although by becoming his protege effectively I have a lot of insider kind of knowledge and stuff like that, not to mention a lot of other kind of perks of figuring out some stuff. So yeah, my feedback is valued, but oh boy, like he underestimated like how long his meetings and how many calls he would get today, because I kid you not, we scheduled something for about, like, give or take, like around 10 a.m. 10 a.m. for like a call, whether it be a 1 hour call, a 2 hour call, we planned for that. That didn't occur because he was busy. I figured, and we agreed to like about 5:45. And well, as you guys can currently see, the time is now about 11 o'clock. Yeah, and he told me like just to wait like 5 more minutes, and that was like, I kid you not, was like maybe at like 10:30, 35 to be honest. So yeah, he does get busy, and also not to mention he can talk like forever. Like, give him an inch, he will take on like about 20 miles. It's not anything against him. It's just it's just that you get a little bit annoying at times. And also, yeah, he's working incredibly hard, but also can be a bit, what do you call it, too lost and kind of the fantasy he's building up about, how this film would be very good. And honestly, I'm hoping that it's very good, but at the same time, I'm also keeping a bit of a realistic mind that, it might not actually end up being nearly as good as people think it is, or as the director thinks it was. And honestly, I don't want him to be crushed down by that. So I've been kind of telling him even throughout like the most process, like even when I was beginning, like always out of it, I would always clarify to him that always whenever I'm going to give him some criticism, it is going to be always crucial to listen to, because I do, well, as much as I enjoy giving criticism, I do want this film to succeed. And when you get stuck in an artist's vision, which that has happened to me before for some of my projects up at school, but when you get so project driven, you kind of tend to lose it a bit with everyone else. Anyways, I'm tired and want to head to bed now. Anyways, yeah, I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.